Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and we're nearly done, we're nearly there, I swear. The end of season special videos are coming to a close. We've got this today, we've got the Celtic the Thunder Celtic Awards ceremony tomorrow, but today we're going to be doing our Scottish Premiership Team of the Year video, according to me, Ryan118. Now this is something we're going to cover in great depth on TSF next week and go through all of our awards once the full domestic season is over, but for today, we're going to be going through my team of the season here on the channel. I'm excited to do this. It's once again a video that welcomes everybody from all the different clubs, so I'm looking forward to seeing your views in the comments. Let's do it. Let's bring it on. Who is in my team of the year? I just realised I keep saying team of the year when I mean team of the season. It's the 2021 Premiership team of the season. That's how I'm going to go about this. Even though Sky Sports here on screen have labelled it team of the year as well, I'm going to stick with team of the season. Look, before we get any further with the video, if you're new to the channel, please make sure to hit like and subscribe. If you're visiting for the first time, then it would be greatly appreciated, especially if you press that like button, because it gets the content shared out with even more people. Right, let's have some fun. Let's do this. Let's pick my highly controversial team of the season. Now, I'm going to try and do this as quickly as possible, because the last couple of videos have dragged, and it's hard to kind of sum it all into one video, and one short video especially, so don't blame me if this drags as well, but we're going to try and think about it as intellectually as possible. Right, we'll start with in goals, of course, and we're going to go 4-3-3 for now. That seems to be the standard for all these team of the year type things nowadays when it comes to FIFA and England and every kind of division. They always go 4-3-3 for teams of the year, so I'm going to stick with that for this video. Goalkeeper, here are the options. Now, I don't even know why Scott Bain is an option. I just feel like that is stupid. I mean, he shouldn't be there. The rest of the keepers, though, all respectively have had a decent enough season. Maybe not Joe Lewis, in fact, but the rest of them, from Seagrass down, all these keepers have had a great year, I think, in their own rights. I know Ross Laidlaw has been part of a struggling Ross County side, but he's still done well. Ultimately, though, Alan McGregor is the pick, isn't he? I would be killed if I don't go with Alan McGregor. He has just been tremendous this year for Rangers, and that's why I'm going to go for him, Alan McGregor, in the team. Fraser Forster, please come back. Yeah, the right back is a similar situation now. Look, this has given us a list of all the defenders available to pick for all of the positions, and we could spend all day going through all of these players and talking about why they deserve to be in the team of the year. Sean Rooney has had a great year at St Johnstone. Now, can we keep in mind, just very quickly, this is Scottish Premiership team of the season we're doing here. Yes, I'll try and let the cups and such have a bit of an influence on who I pick, but mostly we're judging off league performances this season, not cup performances. Yeah, there's a lot of names in here, and the guys that deserve shouts, the defenders, you know, there's some very, very good players. But for right back, once again, it's a guy who I think won Player of the Year we have to go with. We're going with James Tavernier, another guy that if I didn't pick, I would look foolish. His goal contribution rate this season has been unbelievable. Goals, assists, I mean, you can talk about penalties all you like, but goals and assists from that right back position, unmatched, really. He's a brilliant player, captaining the side to 55, of course, as they keep telling us. But he's in that team. He's got to go in there, James Tavernier. And that starts 2 for 2 for Rangers, which is nice. Centre halves then, and look, there's been plenty of centre halves who can make this list. I love how Celtic have 2 defenders this year, just 2, Ayer and Taylor. And I mean, Taylor's barely, well, not barely played, but struggled to be a consistent first team player. There's a lot of good centre halves that go all down the leagues. I know if I was sitting here beside David, he would be absolutely raging at me for not taking the likes of Jason Kerr or Jamie McCart of St Johnstone, but I need to go with them, and I'm going for Christopher Ayer. Christopher Ayer's in my team, and look, a lot of people, especially Rangers fans, will be laughing, going, Christopher Ayer, he's part of the problem, he's in that defence. Christopher Ayer's been the saving grace for Celtic many a time this season. He deserves to be in there. He's the best centre-half. I think when you take everything into account, maybe in this league, I know that's maybe a bit controversial after this season, but he's certainly up there. He's up in the conversation, and there's a reason he gets touted with big moves, because he's got such a bright future, and he's got the ability right now. I'm not saying that he's a world beater or that he's by far the best in the league or anything. In my opinion, he's just got all the attributes of a great modern day centre half. Yes, he has a bit of a mistake in him at times, but he's brilliant. I love him, and his passion is unmatched as well. He has been a shining light in that defence of just self-destruction for Celtic. So Ayer makes mine, and alongside him, once again, the guy who I gave in yesterday's video the best player at the respective club this season, Connor Goldson, has to go in there. he joins Christopher Ajer. Now, I could have made it 3 for 3 with Rangers there, but I've decided to make it 3 from 4 and put Ajer in first. Goldson has been tremendous this year. He easily deserves to be in there. He's played every minute of every Premiership game, and he's just got better and better from a player who was a bit dodgy, I think, for the last couple of years at Rangers. So Goldson's just improved massively. Ajer just keeps getting better. It'll be a shame to see him leave Celtic. I think that's a solid centre-half partnership. They two for me, and I'll let the comments decide what the order of them are. Those two for me are the two best centre-halves in the league at the moment. I guess it's hard for Julian, but he's been out for a year, so off this season though, those two were definitely the best. Left back, had the Considine. I'm joking. Look, for left back for me, there's one name that jumps above them all, and it's Josh Doig. He's got to go in for me. A lot of people, of course, will be saying Borna Barisic. Why are you not putting in Barisic? I think Doig's had a more impressive season in terms of breaking into that team, establishing himself as a first team player, and a very important first team player at such a young age, and we'll see where his career goes. It's got to be big. He's been brilliant, and a lot of his stats actually line up nicely with Barisic. It's not so much a goal contribution, but I think he's got a successful tackling percentage that is the exact same as Borna Barisic, maybe even better. He's good at making attacking plays while also being a raw defender, I would say. Still got leaps and bounds to go, but he's had an impressive breakthrough season, and for that, it gets into my team of the year. Josh Doig's been a joy to watch. Celtic, sign him up. This is where it actually gets really, really difficult. I thought the defence straight away was going to be easy to pick. I knew exactly who I'd be picking. A goalkeeper, back four, I knew exactly what I was doing. When it comes to midfield, it gets a little more tricky. This season, there's been so many good players across the league. There's just been players who've broke out into first teams. There has been players who've been consistently fantastic. The first name for me that goes in is Stephen Davis. Stephen Davis is the first name that goes in for me. These videos, do you know what's mad? And I hate it. Obviously, I hate it. But Rangers fans, yous are loving it. Every time we sit down and do the Team of the Year video, it is Celtic dominant. For the last 3, 4, 5 years on YouTube, my Team of the Year videos have consisted of upwards of 7 or 8 Celtic players because we've been that good. So for me not to sit down today and put Rangers players in would be completely biased and unfair. These are players who deserve, after the season Rangers have had, to be in this team. Stephen Davis is the first one that jumps off the page for me. He has to be in there. He's been absolutely tremendous for Rangers this year, and at the age that he is as well, it's unbelievable how much he's doing. Unbelievable, the stuff that he does and the goals he contributes to. Big game player still. Has to go in. For me, he's been one of Rangers' best players, first and second spell. He's hardly downgraded. I think he struggled when he first came back into Rangers for 2 or 3 games or so, but he's grabbed it again, and he's shown how important he is. People that know me, I might just do it. Just put Johnny Hayes in. Why not? There's no reasoning for it, but why not? Because it's Johnny. Everybody thinks I must be serious with this, but I love you, Johnny. I miss you every day. This is really difficult, man. You scroll through this list. Lewis Ferguson arguably could be in there. David Turnbull. Even Ross McCrory's had a decent enough season. Alex Gogic has been good. Achille have had some decent players at times. Glenn Kamara. Yanis Hadji with the most assists in the league. Ryan Kent down as a midfielder in this. He probably deserves to be in there. Ali McCann. Jamie McGrath. These have been all great players. It's so hard to pick a team of the season. I'm going to go for David Turnbull and get it out of the way. Of course, I'm going to put David Turnbull in. I need to put David Turnbull in. He's been the shining light. I said that about Ajer as well, didn't I? But he has genuinely been the only really massive positive of Celtic's season, because we all knew that Ajer's going to be leaving, but we know Turnbull's going to be here. We know Turnbull is going to be here for the next 2 or 3 years maybe. A player who can be the guy that's the centre of this Celtic rebuild. We build the team around him now. Look, it took him a bit of time to get in and establish himself in that first team, but as soon as he did, the impact that he made moving forward was unbelievable. The goals, the assists, he's been brilliant for Celtic. I really enjoy watching him. I think everybody enjoys watching him, and he's worked that hard that it's got him into the Scotland team. So Turnbull for me has to make it into this team of the year. I know a lot of people will be looking and going, what about teams lower down? What about your Jamie McGraths, your Ali McCanns? You're picking him over them. Yeah, I suppose so. I suppose I am. I suppose it's just bias, isn't it? But he's been so good, and it's not like, honestly, you can't tell me right? Just to be honest for a minute, as good as McGrath has been, as good as Ali McCann has been, these players have been good. You can't sit down and convince me they're better players than David Turnbull, and they've been like David Turnbull's technical ability is unbelievable, and he's shown that throughout the season. So that's why he's in my team. Now, if you're counting Ryan Kent as a midfielder, he may have to go in. He may have to go in, but I really do want to put in somebody like a McGrath or an Ali McCann. Even David Wotherspoon, he's been brilliant as well for St Johnstone. He's maybe even been better than Ali McCann this season. Alan Campbell, brilliant once again for Motherwell, looking for a bigger move now that he's leaving the club. It is so difficult. Lewis Ferguson as well. You know, there's so many players here that deserve to go in. I feel like Ryan Kent, I can't ignore down to what he's done in the stats and such. I mean, obviously, if you're looking for a team that balances itself, if I was to put Kent in, for example, that doesn't work. You don't play Kent in the midfield three. He would be on the left or the right. So I'm not going to put Kent there just now. Do you know what? Wotherspoon, McCann, McGrath, all deserving players. So is Lewis Ferguson. I'm going to go Lewis Ferguson. You know what? I'm going to go for it. I'm going to go for Lewis Ferguson. I think he's been great this year. I've been ranting and raving about him being a potential target for Celtic. He's now obviously asked for a transfer at Aberdeen after a bid from Watford was rejected. He's someone who's got, you know, a big future. That's a Premier League club, Watford, that are looking at Lewis Ferguson, and God knows how much of an impact he'd have there in his first season at Watford, but he's a great player and he's on to big things. He has to go in for me. He's been great this season, and I think it's only fair to give guys from other clubs a shout in this team of the season, but he's been really good, and I'd feel criminal for not putting him in. And I feel bad not giving it to the likes of a McGrath or a Wotherspoon and a McCann, but Ferguson, defensively good. He's got a good understanding in that midfield. He can move forward with the ball too. I feel like he's got everything to his game in that middle of the park. I like him a lot. Up front, and this is a rule that I make every year, and the exception is not stopping now. Odsonne-Edouard has to go in. Why? Because he finished this season top scorer. That is why he's in my team of the year. I've made that rule every single year. The top scorer has to go in. You're not the top scorer for nothing. If you're the top scorer in the league, you're the best striker in that league. And that doesn't stop no matter how bad a season Celtic's had. I put Chris Boyd in this fucking team of the year a couple of years back. Why? Because he finished top scorer. So I'm keeping it fair. I'm keeping it consistent. Odsonne-Edouard has to go in. And honestly, he's just marvellous. I don't need to say anything else. It's Odsonne-Edouard. I am going to miss you so much. Once again, some really good and deserving players all around this list for team of this season. You know, El Yunusi's had a solid year for Celtic. I've liked Nicky Clark-Ocampo. Martin Boyle's been brilliant, so has Kevin Nisbet. Kyle Lafferty's came in, done a job. Devante Cole's been really good. Morelos, once again, with a solid season, proving his worth at Rangers. There's been good players all round. Chris Kane's been really good for St Johnstone too. On the left-hand side, I'm going to go back and see what I would do, and I'm going to put in Ryan Kent. Ryan Kent is going to go on that left-hand side. Look, someone who I have been incredibly critical of in the past. Before this season, I used to call him like the most overrated player, and this year he's been really good, and that's without being overrated this season. I'll be honest about that. I feel like before this season, he was overrated. I know a lot of the things that he'd done went kind of unnoticed, and it's not stuff that would maybe grab the headlines or the highlights. But for the money that Rangers spent, I didn't feel like he was producing the numbers for the last couple of years. I know the first year was on loan, but this year though, he's blown that perception out of the water. He's been really good. He's been brilliant, tricky on that left-hand side, and he's tore Celtic apart every time we've played Rangers. And he's been brilliant in Europe as well. So yeah, Ryan Kent has to go in. He's been really good, and I feel harsh leaving him out. Which means our last player. Now, Morelos, he could go in, I suppose, Alfredo Morelos, because he's been brilliant once again for Rangers. He's someone who, of course, managed to kind of take his game maybe a little bit further this year. He finally scored against Celtic. In fact, he done it on 2 occasions. So maybe Morelos goes in. To be honest, though, I'm leaning towards your Nisbets and your Boyles. To be quite honest, I don't see why I wouldn't put any of those two players in, because I feel like both of them have been brilliant. Wow, now that I look at the stats, right, and I know Morelos, I know a lot of people don't like the whole stats thing and stuff, and I get that, right? But let's just look at this right now. Kemar Roof, he's got more goals than Morelos. He's got 14 goals, 3 assists this season, playing 24 games with 0.81 goals per 90. Kevin Nisbet, 14 goals, 2 assists, 33 games, 0.49 minutes, goals per 90, sorry. James Tavernier scored more than Morelos as well. Martin Boyle, 12 goals, 6 assists. 36 games played, 0.34 goals per 90. Goal conversion rates, very important too, of course. You know me, I'm a stats man. I do like my stats. Okay, I'm not putting Morelos in. I think in the Scottish Premiership, you're talking about Scottish Premiership, arguably you're putting Kmart Roof in over Morelos. But what this list shows me here is that Hibs player deserves to go in. And that's not me taking away anything from Morelos. It's not me taking anything away from Roof. They've been brilliant. They have been. But I think Kevin Nisbet and Martin Boyle, as I mentioned prior to looking further into the stats, have been very instrumental to Hibs' success this season. And they've been very, very good. Now, do I put in Boyle? Do I put in Nisbet? I'm going to put in Martin Boyle. That's it. That's my opinion on what is the Scottish Premiership team of the season. Right there. I know a lot of people aren't going to be happy. They're like, okay, what are you putting Ayer Helander for? What are you putting Doiger, Barisic for? What are you putting Ferguson or Kamara for? What are you putting Turnbull or Arfield for? I know that's going to be the perception here. I'm trying to keep it widespread. I think that is a solid team of the year. Boyle, Edward, Kent, Ferguson, Davis, Turnbull, Tavernier, Ayer, Goldson, Doig and McGregor. I think it is an incredibly fair representation of how good some of our teams and players have been in the Scottish Premiership this year, and I think that is arguably good team of the season, if I say so myself. I know it's my team of the season, but I think it's quite good. I think it's deserving. And look, at the end of the day, there's never a right nor wrong answer to this kind of stuff, is there? Because at the end of the day, people moan and complain about the official team of the year, so it's really a subjective matter. But for me, that, in my opinion, is my Scottish Premiership team of the season. Right there. Just to put it in comparison with the PFA Scotland team of the year, I'll read out theirs. I'm not going to put it up on screen because I can't find a suitable graphic of it, but in comparison with mine, they went for Alan McGregor, who I agreed with, James Tavernier, who I agreed with. They went for Goldson and Ayer, who I agreed with. So right now, 4 out of 4 alongside the PFA team of the year. We differentiated on Doig. They put Borna Barisic, so there's the first difference. In the midfield, they had Turnbull and Davis, so there's another two that we agree on. They had Kamara, which I really like Glenn Kamara. I think he's a great football player, but I went with Lewis Ferguson, so there's another difference. So right now, only two difference. Up front, they had Kent, Edward, so there's another two we agree on, and Morelos. So from the PFA, it's actually not that much difference. I've made 3 changes to what is the PFA player team of the year. So I think I've given it a fair go. And that's it. That'll do it. I need to hurry up and go and edit this. So enjoy. Hope you liked it. Like and subscribe. Let me know your team in the comments below. Appreciate that. See you next time.